Jeff Wittek's docuseries Don't Try This at Home just ended, and it brought in 25.3 million views across 5 episodes and a trailer.
That's a lot of views.
It sounds like a lot of views.
What do you mean it sounds like a lot of views?
I'm saying it is a lot of views, but you know what's more impressive?
Talk to me.
The amount of people who signed up for Jeff Wittek's Patreon to watch bonus footage and uncensored episodes. 40,000 people signed up. Let's be conservative and say at the low end, everyone chose the cheapest option, $5 a month. At 40,000 patrons, that's $200,000 a month and $2.4 million in annual subscription revenue.
As the series came to an end, the number of patrons came down to around 24,000, which again is a lot of people paying around $5 a month for his uncensored content. This is also something we covered a few weeks ago in our creator economy newsletter, The Publish Press. If you want to hear about these stories as they happen, the quickest way to hear about them is by signing up for our newsletter, The Publish Press. Go to thepublishpress.com, put in your email, and you'll be signed up. You'll get emails from us every Tuesday and Friday, and we cover the top 3 stories in the creator economy.
2 weeks ago.
So you could have been in the know.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Get it first. Get it early.
All right, so we're going to start with our initial thoughts on the series, and then we're going to go into the takeaways for creators, everything that you can take from what Jeff did on Patreon.
So make sure to like this video, and if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. We cover the creator economy every single week. Colin, roll the intro. Just roll the intro, man. They don't want the double. They don't want the double thumbs up.
They don't want double thumbs up.
No, just roll the intro.
Okay, fine.
My honest first reaction, I wasn't sure. When I saw the trailer, I was like, what's this going to be like? Obviously, there was a lot happening with the Vlog Squad at this time, and a lot happening with Jeff Wittek at this time. And there was a lot of speculation throughout the year. I was watching his content, Jeff's Barbershop. I watched him on Impulsive, and he started talking about his eye a lot. And we had heard rumblings, but we didn't know what happened. So then you pair that with all the news about the Vlog Squad, about David Dobrik, and like what a heightened time this was. And he drops this trailer.
A year ago, a lot of things happened, and I kept them all a secret.
And I was like, whoa, what is this about? Like, is there something we don't know? Which clearly there was.
And I think what I've learned from Jeff's series straight from the start is that he's a pretty unconventional guy.
Yeah.
Like, he has a really interesting background that I really did not know much about. And you learn this in his first episode, where he really tells his origin story of how he even came to meet David Dobrik and move to Los Angeles and become part of the Vlog Squad. The interesting thing about Jeff, he's from Staten Island, I believe. He's from New York, and he has a really rough upbringing where he gets involved in selling drugs.
We get to Miami, and we basically just meet up with bigger criminals.
And he gets put in jail.
That's something that was basically his character in the vlogs. Like, that's who he was. He was the criminal. And
I guess I didn't follow closely enough, honestly.
That was his narrative, was that he was the criminal. Like, one of the first times he shows up, they get pulled over by the cops, and David jokes around about him getting arrested. And that he's like a drug dealer. Like it's the primary narrative in the vlogs is that Jeff is a criminal. So I don't think anyone really knew from his appearances in the vlogs if that was like what his real story was.
We're standing outside of a place where Jeff conducts a lot of business illegally.
No, I do not. And I met David, and then David was just infatuated with my past.
And what's interesting is because of all this heightened interest in the overarching Vlog Squad story, in Jeff, because he's putting out this content and getting caught in some of these like controversies, there was an opportunity for him to control his story for the first time. His story typically played out on David's channel. And this was the first time I think he had an opportunity to say, I'm going to tell you guys my story.
It was also at a time when there was interest in the dark side of the Vlog Squad.
Mm-hmm.
And his series caters to that.
It works in that way. It doesn't work in another setting where everyone's just happy-go-lucky about the Vlog Squad. It only works in this post-Vlog Squad era where everyone's like, oh, wow, there was some craziness there.
Let me see behind the scenes.
Yes.
The second thing that I realized right away was that the storytelling was incredible.
I think the only thing I could compare this to was Shane Dawson when he was doing docuseries.
But Shane Dawson's storytelling was not that advanced. It wasn't that intricate.
Shane Dawson was essentially playing suspenseful music at weird times and making us all feel like there was something happening, but nothing was happening.
There were no real stakes.
Yeah. In Jeff's story, this is, 100% one of the best docuseries I've seen done by a YouTube creator.
And I love the voiceover that feels like Goodfellas. I know that's one of your favorite movies that you introduced to me, but even his voice has a similar type of accent.
It started off like any other year, but suddenly out of nowhere, the whole world got flipped upside down, and we were all forced to adapt.
Yeah, he's just so New York and so like...
Why did you just put on a New York accent?
Did I?
Yeah, you did. You do this.
Did I?
Yep. We'll play the tape back.
Well, what are you talking about?
Ah!
What are you saying?
There it is. He's doing
You're
it.
trying to tell me I got a New York accent?
Oh my God. He's doing it.
What are
He
we
does
saying?
This is something you do.
It's not something I do.
Yes.
It was done in a style of like old school gangster movies.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
Like even the way episode 1 ends, where he's like, little did I know. It was the dumbest guy I know was driving.
But this is where I made a mistake. I forgot that the biggest idiot I know was driving it.
Did I do it right?
Yeah.
Is that it? You're the one from
now
the East
you're trying
Coast.
to do it.
Try and do it.
I don't have one.
You remember when I tried to do the Seinfeld accent?
Yeah, we all
That was a
remember.
disaster.
Yeah, it was a disaster.
That was a complete
We
disaster.
almost had to shut down the channel. I love docuseries like this, specifically on YouTube. It's what made me fall in love with YouTube, or these web series and docuseries. I love when creators hold themselves accountable and sort of put themselves on the line to put out an episode once a week.
Yeah.
I know what it's like to create series like that. And it's super compelling from an audience perspective to follow along week to week, as opposed to creators that put out a random different video every week. You know, Ryan Trahan is doing serialized content right now.
Eric has classically done serialized content. Yeah, I think serialized content is this part of this wave of the future of creators, which kind of operates more like HBO or Netflix or something, where it's like, right now, this is the narrative of my channel. I am doing this show.
YouTube has roots with that, with Issa Rae, who started her narrative series on YouTube and then eventually took it to HBO.
So things are looking and feeling a lot more like what we're used to in an HBO world. Like, remember the Jinx on HBO?
Took over.
Yeah, it took over. Those types of series take over and they dominate a conversation.
Last Dance.
Yep, that's what Jeff has done with YouTube. So the story has 2 levels of stakes. One level is curiosity around what happened to Jeff this year. Then additionally, it has this layer of like, wait, what did the Vlog Squad look like behind the scenes because of all the controversy they're caught up in? We've never seen the Vlog Squad in this setting. These raw moments, there's this crazy moment where David shows up to the hospital in this Joker costume and Jeff had asked him to do that. And it's like, it's just, you've never seen, what does the top tier of YouTube, what does it look like behind the scenes?
You know who did a great job with this was the Try Guys with their documentary.
Yes.
That was another example of really humanizing the YouTube experience of what it means to be a top level creator.
I think now that YouTube creators are more celebrity-like than they ever have been from a monetary perspective, as well as like a just general celebrity perspective, creators are more willing and audiences are probably more interested to just see content that's like observational. Like, let me observe what this is like. Logan Paul did it with the Floyd Mayweather press conference, where it's just like, let me watch this unfold. Not necessarily like, don't create a specific, setting for me. Like, let me just watch your life unfold.
It's capturing moments and not being as concerned about shots. Moments being those things that you film them and you almost can't believe you caught it on camera because you never could have planned for it, but it will absolutely make your piece. And then shots are like B-roll, the things that you could grab almost at any time and it wouldn't matter.
Now, the story itself is crazy. Like, I really feel for Jeff and this whole situation. Like, I was just like, this is such an unfortunate situation that happened. Like, terrible.
Terrible accident.
Yeah.
Brutal.
The way episode 1 ends, my stomach dropped. Like, when he's hanging from this excavator and like...
It's hard to watch.
People are screaming. Yeah. But part of it being hard to watch adds to what Jeff did next.
So he started to realize that YouTube was censoring his content, which they fully have the right to do if you go against some of their guidelines. But in response to it, he took his episodes to Patreon and aired the full uncensored versions and behind the scenes on his Patreon, which he did not really have before, correct? He didn't have a...
Not that I know of.
Super successful...
If he did, I don't think it was anything of, significance.
Yeah, and it shot up to around 40,000 patrons. At a minimum of $5, there's a $10 option and a $20 option. So we talked about this in the intro, but 40,000 people, he's looking at $2.4 million in annual subscription revenue from a docuseries. At a minimum, that's being conservative because we're choosing the $5 option, assuming that everyone took the $5 option.
Right. Which there's probably people who took a more expensive. It's probably the middle option, actually, like $10 a month.
$20 a month and you get thirst traps.
Yeah.
Which is what I just discovered.
And you paid that?
No, I paid the 10.
You didn't want the thirst traps?
Well, I clicked on it. I tried. And then I realized, wasn't part of the membership that we got.
Yeah, we might want to up-level that.
So he's doing a little mix of like OnlyFans.
Sure. I mean,
docuseries.
Yeah, Casey Neistat said this on Impulsive. Like Jeff Wittek is one of the more creative, creators.
You know who I think is great, and I think is a new genre? Jeff Wittek.
Oh, the barbershop?
agreed.
You went on, right?
Dude, it's such a good show.
Jeff was one of the most strategic members of the Vlog Squad. Like what he did with Jeff's barbershop was actually like very cool, innovative, and it's a format that just like really allowed for him to carve out his own world. And I think what he did here is he's very playful with the audience, and like even that, like saying like thirst traps at $20, like he's a comedian as well. So it adds into this level of comedians also work really well in this environment of Patreon and like playing around with that format and that direct relationship to the audience, which he had. I think out of all the Vlog Squad members, he had arguably the best relationship with his own audience.
Because of the long form episodes of Jeff's Barbershop.
Exactly.
And the consistency with which he did those episodes.
And it was an incredibly successful series.
Yeah, I mean, it fostered natural collaborations. We talked about this in our Dixie D'Amelio episode, but it's the long form conversational format is incredible for growing on YouTube.
Yes.
And building a connection with your audience.
So Jeff really quickly turns to Patreon. I mean, I think after the first episode, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
After the first episode, he's like uncensored version. And it's everywhere on screen, even as you're watching this. So 6.3 million views, and everyone's like, I kind of want to see the uncensored version. Really good strategy. But what we started to realize is Patreon is typically used as a membership club, right? Which essentially says, basically like subscribe, and for the rest of time, I'll deliver you exclusive content, I guess. There's no like time cap on it.
Which is insane.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. As a creator, it's actually what has stopped us from going into membership, because membership for us is like, well, when does it stop? Like when does a user or an audience member feel like they get the value, or is that indefinite?
What's the expected transformation transaction, right? That's why we've done courses, because we can sort of limit the input from us and we have an expected output that we know the audience will get.
Right.
But with Patreon, it's just an unlimited amount of time.
Right.
But you said this, we're not Netflix.
We're not Netflix. We can't I don't know, maybe like audience members are okay if we start acquiring content to put on there. But like, I think solo creators have a certain amount of content that they can put out. Now, I do like the narrative of this direct creator to fan relationship where it's like, it's your network. You guys are financing it. You guys can, have an influence into what gets made. You're supporting my career. It's because of you that I'm making content. There's no advertisers involved in this content. I actually really like that messaging, and I like that relationship between creator and audience.
The issue though is that creation and bandwidth relies solely on Jeff. And that's unsustainable, or any creator.
Like what we're paying for from Netflix is like a wide array of content. What we're paying for with Jeff Wittek is Jeff Wittek. So if at any point Jeff Wittek doesn't make good content, we're kind of out. And so what you start to realize is he actually used Patreon, which is a membership platform, as a method to do pay-per-view. It's the reason why over, almost 20,000 fans dropped out after the series is done, because they were there to pay for the series. They were like, this is pay-per-view for us. It's the same model that DAZN used when Logan Paul fought KSI. It was like, the only way you're watching this fight is if you buy a membership to DAZN.
And the people who obviously left were not there for the thirst traps.
Sure.
Or the Discord that you could join.
Right.
They're just here for the content as a singular goal for them.
So he essentially used Patreon as pay-per-view, and it kind of begs the question, why doesn't YouTube have a pay-per-view option?
Which they used to.
Yeah, like join, fine, but their membership platform's not great, YouTube's.
You know what though? YouTube can't have a pay-per-view option because they'll still be responsible for the content. So it wouldn't work, because if Jeff wants to put uncensored episodes still hosted by YouTube, he can't do that.
He can't do it.
But I feel like there's a gap in the market there for someone.
Yeah.
And, Gumroad potentially.
Yeah, sure.
There are companies that do this, but it feels like, is there maybe even it's Patreon to set up a more transactional pay-per-view relationship that's not requiring audiences and creators to bind themselves for what is kind of like eternity.
Well, I think what we've learned is this. As a creator, audiences are willing to pay for content. That's a really important lesson to learn, that you can make content and audiences are willing to pay a premium for exclusive content. Now, we've learned that through our course. I think the creator economy at scale has learned it through boxing. Like boxing is pay-per-view. That's why it works so well, is that these creators have massive audiences that are willing to pay $50 for one big event that they hype up. So that model can work for exclusive content too. It can work when Jeff Wittek, if he's hyping this series up for months or even 4 weeks, and then it's boom, you get the whole series for $50. I'd probably do that. $10 an episode. Sure. Happy with that. Maybe even less, $25, no problem.
Jeff Wittek, though, still netted out with around 24,000 patrons. So
Right.
this was not a bad
Right.
strategy,
It's
and
not
that's
a bad
recurring revenue for him. And then now he just announced that he's also going to be releasing his Jeff FM podcast episodes first on Patreon. So it's hard to argue that he should have done this pay-per-view, but the way that most people seem to have interacted with the series was by using Patreon as pay-per-view.
I'm curious to ask the audience a question. So for everyone who's watching and listening, are you subscribed to a Patreon? And if so, do you have any thought about unsubscribing? Or are you just like, I'm in this indefinitely? Like I will pay $5 a month to this creator forever.
Have you noticed that creators have tailed off? Maybe they've scaled back their content. They're not as active. And do you care, or are you just there to support them? I'd be curious to know.
Yeah. And I think that probably will inform what happens next with creators and what they do with exclusive content. What we look at with Patreon is it's not the best experience. Like in my opinion, you're basically uploading to Vimeo and then putting Vimeo on this website.
And if you want to take part in the community element, you have to go to Discord. Jeff was hosting live streams, which is really cool that he was doing exclusive live streams for people after episodes came out. But you have to go to another platform to take part in those live streams. Like you have to go to so many different places. And it seems like if the goal is community, they've just dispersed their community by having all of these different places you have to go to take.
Yeah, it's not housed in one place.
Yeah.
Which is kind of
Why don't they have
strange.
their own video player? Why don't they have their own live stream hosting? I understand that it's expensive, but it feels like it would make Patreon so much better, and the Patreon app, if all of the community could be bound together. And maybe they're doing that. I don't know.
Yeah. And even having a pay-per-view option. And maybe their whole thesis is around monthly recurring revenue and like that supports creators, but pay-per-view I think is a really interesting model. I think it works really well.
Shouldn't Patreon and Discord just merge?
Maybe. Yeah.
Right? Discord just added ticketed live audio events.
Right. So imagine if you had a digital ticket to Jeff Wittek's movie premiere. That's exciting. And as a creator, you might have even more scale if you're not locking someone into something monthly that they might forget about. I don't know. I think the reality is what this series showed us is this model of saying, I'm going to start on YouTube and then go behind a paywall works. And I think what we're going to continue to see is this question around advertising. When, platforms are ad supported like YouTube, when the creator's ad supported, the restrictions around their content are pretty intense, right? And that makes sense. It makes sense. It's not unreasonable for an advertiser to not want to be around, really risky or controversial content. But audiences are really interested in storylines, and especially storytelling that's as good as what Jeff put out. When the story's that interesting and good, and when the filmmaking is that interesting and good, audiences are willing to pay to the tune of close to $2 million for a series like that, which I can tell you, there's probably not an advertiser that pays that much for that. And there's probably not a platform that pays that much for a creator-led docuseries.
Especially coming off the allegations against the Vlog Squad, where Jeff lost Old Spice and some of his biggest sponsors.
Yeah.
I guarantee at that time, and still probably now, there aren't that many advertisers who are interested in getting involved with some of the Vlog Squad members.
Right. Yeah. I think that's probably going to be the way of a lot of creators now. I mean, we're already starting to see it. Logan Paul has Maverick Club. And Bryce Hall has Party Animal University or whatever it's called. They're charging $20 a month to get exclusive content, and audiences are willing to pay that. And that's going to be the way of most creators. Because when you think about it, it's like, well, then I have all this creative freedom where I get to make whatever I want for this audience, and they pay me more than an advertiser or platform would pay me. I guess the biggest question in my mind is, when is it membership and when is it pay-per-view? Because again, membership suggests that you can do it in the long run. One thing that I think we've brought up for years now is at some point, do creators bundle together? Do you get a bundle of creators so that all the pressure isn't on one, and then you sell a subscription where you say, hey, there's 5 creators in this pack and you get all of their content for $10 a month or $12 a month. And it's the Vlog Squad package, which I don't know if that's going to be a thing anymore, but you get it. Like, is it the Sway House package? Which I guess I don't know if that's going to be a thing anymore. What's a good example of this?
I think it's more about, here's a bunch of food creators potentially.
Sure.
Here's a bunch of DIY creators.
Right. When's like the food network of creators going to come together and actually not be controlled by a network, but be controlled by just saying a group of creators saying, let's make a collective and let's just charge an audience for all of our content. You take every Monday and I'll take every other Tuesday. And now we have a content slate for a month where each of us is only making one piece of content, but the audience is receiving the type of content they want.
I think that's still potentially, though, too unsustainable, because the onus is still entirely on the creators to keep the community strong.
Right.
And that's where a lot of people are really excited about the possibilities of token-gated communities. When you involve crypto and it's a token-gated community, there can be incentives for audiences to also keep the community healthy because they have true ownership in the community, in the value.
Crypto Colin has just entered the chat.
Welcome. It's good to be here.
No, you're
but
right.
it's true.
Okay, so
Like,
let's explain really quick. Let's explain for those of you who don't know, what is a token-gated community and how does that work?
it's easiest for me to explain it within the confines of a group called Friends with Benefits. And I've talked about them on this channel before. But basically, it is a group chat through Discord, right, of crypto thought leaders and interesting creative people. Now, to get access to the Discord, you have to purchase 60 of their tokens, their digital currency. And they've only issued 1 million. So entrance to this group is limited. There's a cap on it. And as the value of the group continues to go up, as they raise the price, as the brand goes up, as more people want to get involved in the group, they can raise the price of the token. Additionally, there are incentives that are released every quarter that encourage members of the group to interact and do certain things that will keep the group healthy. And if they do those things, they are given more tokens.
Right. And so now you actually, as a member of the community, you actually have monetary incentive to make it a better experience for everyone. So the onus is not 100% on the creator. It actually becomes this community that's like a collective, and it's like a two-way street where the fans, the 24,000 fans who subscribe to Jeff Wittek, if it was a token-gated community and they got like a Jeff token, let's say, as that community grows, the Jeff token becomes more valuable. More people want to get into this community to see the uncensored content or whatever it is.
Or to even vote on what he does next,
yeah.
what type of merch they sell. Let's say they sell merch within the group together.
Right.
That revenue can come back to the group and then be dispersed. Like, it can also be a little bit of a business as well.
So I think at the end of the day, what we've realized is that the membership model for creators is still kind of undefined. Like, I don't think anyone has emerged as a clear winner in this membership model yet. Obviously, Patreon is leading the pack, but I think with what's happening in crypto and this concept of token-gated community where like audiences actually can have more say and potentially more monetary incentive in what's happening, that's probably where the future of membership lies, is where audiences can get more involved in the content and in the community itself. Other than that, I think actually there's a ton of room for pay-per-view with creators. Now that creators are making more interesting content with higher level filmmaking, pay-per-view is really interesting. It's happening right now in online courses. We've experienced it with online courses, but I think there's another iteration of pay-per-view.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think there is so much room for pay-per-view, and I'm not sure which platform will win out in terms of being able to court creators and be like the platform for pay-per-view content.
I wonder if it'll be Twitch, because didn't Twitch just roll out new pricing that's like more like localized?
Yeah, more localized pricing, yeah. Could be, but that's still subscription.
Yeah.
OnlyFans has an option where once you get in,
that might be
you can charge extra for certain types of content. So people pay a base of like $2 a month or whatever it is. And then if you do something more premium, you can charge for that.
All right, so those are our thoughts on Jeff Wittek and his series, as well as the overarching membership versus pay-per-view space in the creator economy. So we'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Are you subscribed to anyone's Patreon? If so, have you thought about unsubscribing, or are you just in it for the long haul?
Last thing I'll say is we would not be talking about Jeff Wittek's docuseries if the storytelling wasn't phenomenal. Like, truly, it's an incredible documentary piece, and it's one of the things that excites me so much about YouTube, because it's why I fell in love with YouTube in the first place, was the ability to make your own documentaries, your own series, and just put them out for everyone.
If you are interested in stories like this, again, it was covered in our Creator Economy newsletter, which is called the Publish Press. You can check that out at thepublishedpress.com. Sign up and you'll get newsletters every Tuesday and Friday that cover the top 3 stories in the creator economy.
And we're always looking for your advice on stories that we should cover either in the newsletter or here on this channel. So make sure if you have those ideas, tweet them at us at Colin and Samir, or you can just comment on this video or any of our new uploads, really.
All right, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys next week. Unless you subscribe to the Published Press, then we'll see you in your inbox very soon. All right, peace.